Merchant, and today I'm going to be sharing a story with you through godly play. Hopefully around your classroom you will see that there's activities that are laid out for you that you'll go away and complete after you've listened to my story. Now in a moment I will begin our godly play session by lighting my 3 candles here, and I invite you to do the same in your classroom. Once the candles have been lit, it signifies the start of our special time, like when you do worship in your class or together as a school, or in your own godly play sessions if you do them in your school. After lighting the candles, I will begin the story by opening a bag of sand, okay? And what I'd like you to do is to focus on what I'm telling in the story. So focus on the sand that you can see in this bag. Okay. And what I want you to do is focus on what is happening and the story that I'm unfolding as I bring objects out of my special basket. Now, I'd like you to be calm and to be still and think about the I wonder questions that I pose, because you may need them later on in your session. So I'm going to begin now by lighting the candles. So, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. The story that I'm going to share with you is from Genesis, book 6, verses 9 through to 22. And it tells of a time when God presented a special assignment to a righteous man. By faith and trust in God alone, this man embarked on this journey, not really knowing where it was going to lead him. When God created the earth and everything in it, God said it was very good. But people began to do bad things, so God sent a great flood. He decided to send that great flood to clean everything and to make it new again. God saw a good family. The father was called Noah. And Noah had a wife and 3 sons. And his sons also had wives. I wonder what God saw that was good in Noah. I wonder what would have happened if God had never saw that family. God and Noah walked. Noah walked with God and God walked with Noah. He came so close to Noah that Noah knew what God wanted him to do. He wanted Noah and his family to build a big boat. Called an ark. I wonder what Noah knew what God wanted him to do. Noah and his family began to build the ark. As they were building, animals came from all corners of the earth. They came 2 by 2 and filled the ark. When the ark was finished and all of the animals and Noah's family were safe in the ark, it began to rain. Water came down from the heavens and up from the earth. And at first, it was just like any other rain we'd seen, and there were puddles. But soon those puddles ran together, and all that was around was water, nothing else. Soon the water was everywhere, and it covered everything. And when the creatures and Noah looked out, all they saw was water. I wonder how they felt at that time. Did they still feel that God was with them and watching over them? Did they still believe he was there? It rained and rained for 40 days and 40 nights, and it didn't stop. God didn't forget them though. Eventually, the rain stopped. And God sent a great wind to dry everything up. Noah took the dove and held it carefully in his hands before sending it forth out into the world. It flew and it flew. Noah held out his hand and the dove landed back in it. There was still nothing but water around the ark. Noah waited 7 more days. He sent the dove forth again, and it flew and flew and flew. And this time, when it returned, it held something in its mouth. It held a green olive leaf. So this meant there was something on earth again growing. I wonder what the dove symbolised in this story and how the family felt when they saw the dove come back with that olive branch. Noah waited a further 7 days, 7 more days, and again sent the dove back out into the world. And it flew and it flew and it flew. But this time it didn't come back. It found a home, it made a nest, and it stayed there. The water kept going down and down, till eventually the ark came to rest upon the earth again. All of the animals began to come out of the ark. They were so happy to be home. I couldn't tell you how happy they were. They had to say their prayers and thank God and tell God how happy they were to have their home back. So they made an altar, said their prayers and gave thanks to God. Suddenly, all of the creatures and Noah and his family saw a great bow reach across the sky, and it had no end, stretched for miles and miles. It was a bow of many colours. We can still see that bow today in the sky. We call it a rainbow. When it rains and the sun shines, that's when it appears. I wonder, what do you think about when you see a rainbow in the sky? The rainbow was God's sign to say he would never send a great flood like that again to earth, and that he would keep his promise, his covenant. The creatures then went back to all four corners of the earth and began to fill it with life again. I'm going to pause my story there now and leave you with some final wonders of mine. I wonder if there was any part of that story we could leave out, but still have everything we need to tell the story. Now I wonder what part of that story was most important to you. I wonder now, could you share some of your own wonders about this story with your friends and the adults in the room? Now, after you've had some time to share some of those wonders, it will be time for you to go away and to complete some of those lovely activities that you've got around your classroom. Then for the final part of our godly play, it's the feast. Now this is mine and my class's favourite part of the godly play, because we get to come together and we get to share a drink and some snacks like Jesus did with his disciples at the Last Supper. And that's a time when you can share your reflections with your friends, prayers that you might have written, or more questions that you might have. So thank you for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure being able to tell you this story. So I'm going to finish now by saying, go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Take care. God bless. Thank you for listening.